I think now we're going to have a presentation of the 65 years of Master Rhee's work.
I'm glad to see another believer from the United States, Jhoon Rhee here, famous as he is. Tae Kwon Do is a real gift to the United States from Korea, and don't cross this guy or he'll kick your brains out. I've known Master Jhoon Rhee as a leader, as a great volunteer, as an expert, I think since the end of the 60s. I was elected to Congress in 66, and it was shortly thereafter that I met him. Master Rhee was teaching a bunch of congressmen, and he did a great job on it, and that's where I first got to know him and respect him. And in the process, he's helped Korea. He's helped the Korean image because he's so well known in the United States, and I think he's put a wonderful face on our great ally, Korea.
Muhammad Ali used Jhoon Rhee, the acupunch, to defend his title against his British opponent, Richard Dunn, in Munich, Germany in 1975.
John, how to teach us with me? Mr. Jhoon Rhee is from Washington, D.C. Great karate teachers are getting me ready for the wrestle. Are you going to use that right hand? That wasn't the right hand. Jhoon Rhee is acupunch.
Later, Muhammad Ali visited Grandmaster Jhoon Rhee as they both were selected to receive the Bicentennial Sports Award in Washington, D.C.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the world's heavyweight champion, Muhammad Ali. Next, there's a special award in the field of martial arts, probably best known as karate. And our presenter is a celebrated journalist. Washington is bugged so much that the other night Henry Kissinger's waterbed leaked and almost drowned Jack Anderson. Mr. Jack Anderson.
Our man of the century is a native Korean, master of the Korean version of the martial arts called Tae Kwon Do. In his prime, he was the only person in the world who could leap into the air and get off 3 powerful mule-like kicks before he touched the ground. It is now my pleasure to present the man of the century in martial arts and the commissioner of the new World Black Belt League, Jhoon Rhee.
Thank you, Jack. Mr. Kissinger, I'd like to say a word. Your staff in American Embassy in Seoul, Korea, doing a good job to picking a right guy to issue a visa like me. Muhammad Ali and Will Chamberlain have been disputing who is the greatest past few years. Now you just heard Jack Anderson that who is the greatest. I think it's big enough for me to demonstrate, to settle for good who is the greatest. Ali. Will Chamberlain, I don't want you to come at the same time. I want you to wait until I finish him up, then you can come out. Thank you very much.
God, he must have a hell of a jockstrap.
Grandmaster Jhoon Rhee is one of the best gifts that Korea has ever given to the United States. He's the only American of Korean descent to be recognized as one of the top 200 immigrants of all time. He received this honor 2 years ago along with other renowned immigrant Americans such as Albert Einstein, Isaac Perlman. Please join me in welcoming Grandmaster Jhoon Rhee.
Grandmaster Jhoon Rhee really is just such a great example. He's always in great shape. And besides his good physical strength, he's a man of tremendous character. He's a teacher, he's a leader, and people all over the world, not just Virginia, not just America, have benefited from Jhoon Rhee. So my brother Bruce, with Jhoon Rhee, and my brother Bruce has now come to the Redskins, and he's general manager of the Redskins, and I'd like to ask Grandmaster Rhee, if you please come forward here. We have a presentation, a gift we want to give to you. If you'll slip that off, slip the ribbon off. All right, let me open this up. As you know, in fact, Delegate Keem and I were talking about this. The Redskins are in great need of strong defense and a lot of different players who are not injured. Jhoon Rhee has just turned 80 years old. It's hard to believe he's 80 years old, but he just turned 80 years young. And so we have a Redskin jersey 80, but most importantly, Jhoon Rhee. We need a strong, tenacious defense.
Thank you, Jhoon. About 20 years ago, I had one of the greatest experiences of my life, and that was to meet and to know and to become a friend of Jhoon Rhee. Jhoon Rhee's life is one of giving. He believes in giving with all his heart, soul, mind, strength, and body to the United States of America and to his fellow Americans.
Jhoon Rhee can teach a lesson about achievement and about working toward a goal more effectively, I think, because many students are interested in what he does and what he stands for. And by teaching it in that context, it can then apply to other contexts.
He is an author. He has starred in movies. Creator of the National Teacher Appreciation Day. He has conducted over 70 3-day morning seminars. Has become a national treasure, a gentleman in every sense of the word, and my good friend, Master Jhoon Rhee.
If you ask me who has now the most influence over the Soviet foreign policy today, I will say that it is Master Rhee, because he just published editorial article in the Soviet magazine, which is very well read by Soviet diplomats, by Soviet politicians, but by Soviet high-level officials. It consists of the guiding principles of the philosophy of Master Rhee, by which very well applied even to relationship between nations and to relationship between the Soviet Union and the United States.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am very honored to be here this afternoon to be awarded with Peacemaker Award.
Master Jhoon Rhee is a 10th degree black belt who at 64 years of age still exhibits the strength and flexibility of a teenager. He has acted as a special advisor to the President's Council on Physical Fitness and Sports under the Reagan administration, and a presidential appointee to the National Council on Vocational Education under President Bush. He has acted as master instructor for everyone from congressmen and movie stars to celebrities and sports heroes, including Muhammad Ali and the late Bruce Lee.
Congressman Nick Smith, good to meet you. Is there any particular reason that we declare Jhoon Rhee's Day today?
Well, I have been authorized by the United States Congress to express our appreciation to Jhoon Rhee on this his day and there's a lot of acclamations for Master Rhee, but in conclusion, from the Mayor of the District of Columbia, Anthony Williams, now therefore, I, the Mayor of the District of Columbia, do hereby proclaim June 28th, 2003 as Jhoon Rhee Day in Washington, D.C., and call upon all the residents of this great city to join me in recognizing this distinguished gentleman and wish him continued success. Let's show our appreciation for Jhoon Rhee.
보기엔 그냥 시골 창고지만 있어야 할 건 다 있고요. 없을 건 없답니다. 화개장터.
지금 주은리 씨가 꽃을 전해드렸습니다.
워싱턴을 빛낸 자랑스러운 한국인이죠. 미국 태권도계의 대부 준리.
2002년에는 훌륭한 이민자 200인에 선정되기도 하셨는데요. 이 낯선 미국 땅에서 성공할 수 있었던 비결은 무엇입니까?
열심히 경직하게 일하는 겁니다. 네.
야, 정말 정답인 것 같아요. 그거는 뭐 어느 나라에서 다 통하는 진실일 겁니다.
마지막이 될 것처럼 혼신의 힘을 다해서 뛰세. 나 이제 커버린 걸다 뭔가 잃어버린 기억. 남자가 너에게 어울리는 나쁜 남자야. 나쁜 남자야. 푸른 언덕에 배낭을 메고 황금빛 태양
Master Jhoon Rhee, the guest of honor tonight, introduced not only high Korean image to America through Tae Kwon Do, but also American friends call him Korea. His name is Korea in America. The capital of America, Washington, D.C., declared a proclamation June 28, 2003, as Jhoon Rhee Day before an audience of nearly 30,000 D.C. residents honoring his success. When I witnessed the scene, I could not stop my tears. Where are you, Master Jhoon Rhee?
Grandmaster Jhoon Rhee has been close to past American presidents and other political leaders of the United States and has proven to be a great role model for everyone around him.
Grandmaster and Mrs. Jhoon Rhee were state guests of President Chen C-Bien of Taiwan from June 5 to 9, 2007. The invitation for the personal meeting was issued after President Chen watched the DVD of Master Rhee's formal address to the United Nations of April 10, 2007. Master Rhee's address was also delivered at the Presidential Palace, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, a university, and before various business and sports association groups on the theme, Born to be Healthy, Wealthy, and Happy. Following a board-breaking demonstration by Master Rhee, the broken boards were then autographed and presented to President Chen.
He's got a 10th degree in the black belt. And he was my instructor. He was also Muhammad Ali's instructor. Creator of the National Teacher Appreciation Day back in 1986. It was Jhoon's idea, and it's our honor to present him tonight this Visionary Leadership Award. Grandmaster Jhoon Rhee.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very honored to be honored in the same rank with Congressman Honda today. This award means I am more responsible in the future. A newspaper reporter asked Helen Keller, "What could be a more difficult life than living without sight?" Helen Keller replied, "Sight without vision."
I've had the good fortune over the last 3 to 4 decades to come to know some of the most celebrated and noble people on the planet, people who run companies and run countries, artists, editors, writers, actors. Among them all, Jhoon Rhee stands tall.
Arnold Schwarzenegger presented this award to Master Rhee for this outstanding achievement.
Well, I think they've influenced a great deal. You've got great stars like Bruce Lee, of course, who was a pioneer, and of course Master Jhoon Rhee, who was in several movies with them, and then Jackie Chan, and then the Americans Chuck Norris and Steven Seagal and the others.
And he's always worked to make people a better man or a better woman. So I bow to you, Master Rhee.
I am one of those former members of Congress that studied under Master Rhee. She's number one. Connie Morell, her husband Tony.
I believe in this man because of his enthusiasm, because of his belief in the greatness of this country and the opportunities, because of his integrity, because of his perseverance in what he believes. And you can see that from all of the people who are here, present members of Congress, past members of Congress. I'm lucky I'm sitting with the ambassador from Korea.
I can only tell you when I was in Congress and every morning when we would come and work out with Jhoon Rhee, when the emphasis, when you're listening to our national anthem before we worked out, or you would see the beauty of some of the members. I mean, Nick Smith leaping in the air was something to behold, but there was no Republican or Democrat.
I'm glad to be able to fly up to Mississippi to join my colleagues to celebrate Master Rhee's 80th birthday and 45 years of teaching Tae Kwon Do here to those of us who members of Congress.
And one anecdote you'll appreciate, the Star Spangled Banner, the beautiful moving demonstrations of the Star Spangled Banner. I used to practice it at home when my small children were getting dressed. Every morning, other than during the classes. One day I took my 4-year-old son to a baseball game. They played the Star Spangled Banner. He said, "Dad, why are they playing that karate song here at the baseball game?"
Well, what I like to do is hip hip hooray for Jhoon Rhee. Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! Third time, hip hip hooray!
I was watching the other night a new show that came on television called The Event. I don't know if any of you saw that, but it's about this plane of people that crashed in Alaska that came from outside of our planet, and they do not age, and he's one of them. I am very excited to be here. I have been inspired by Jhoon Rhee's ability to work with people, to inspire young people and older folks like myself to do what is right, to develop our bodies and mind, and to be great citizens in this fantastic country. There is no one who loves the United States of America more than Jhoon Rhee, and I believe.
When I went to Congress in '68, you called and said, get the congressmen together, and we got a room in the Senate.
There was Milton Young, it was Tom Bevel, it was Floyd Spence, all these guys. And we had the best time of our lives because we were with not just a great athlete, unbelievable physical, but a great spirit. And one which he shared with the whole world in so many ways. So thank you, Bob, for letting me get up to say, thank you for everybody, how proud we are of you, my friend. Long live you. Keep it up. Thank you.
A few current congressmen didn't go home, stayed here to be with us.
Well, it's just such an honor for me to be here with all of you. I couldn't help but be very touched by Jhoon Rhee's comments on what motivated him to come to this country. As it happens, my own father was in the Korean conflict and spent most of his time in a European hospital. But the fundamental essence of what Jhoon Rhee had said was that he appreciated a country that held each person to have that image of God, and that they need to be protected across the world, and that is something that we've always tried to personify in this country. And to see what has motivated this man for so many years to dedicate himself to this country and to the ideals it represents, I think is probably just sort of a reminder of how blessed we all are to be Americans. God bless you all.
I had no choice but to come. I see Jhoon Rhee every morning. This morning, if he says, he told me, if you don't come, you will be aboard the next time I see you.
I am Congresswoman Maloney, and I am just here to salute Master Jhoon Rhee for his extraordinary career, for bringing Tae Kwon Do to America, to Russia, and across the world, and being a very patriotic leader here in America. He's an inspiration, and I love him very much. Happy birthday, and may you live 1,000 years. Congratulations.
Well, the reason that I couldn't notify Jhoon Rhee that I would come this evening was because of the schedule of the Congress of the United States. Suddenly, everything finished yesterday. That's why I could notify Jhoon that I can make it this evening. Actually, we have a very, very important agenda of passing through U.S. Congress our Korea-U.S. Free Trade Agreements, which is good for the United States and which is good also for Korea. It's a job-creating agreement. But first of all, I really would like to say to all of you and the friends of Korea, the members of Congress who have always contributed to the strengthening of the very, very important relations between the United States and Korea. I'm really proud of Jhoon Rhee that he contributed so much to making such a wonderful relations more stronger. If Jhoon Rhee had not become the well-established Korean American, maybe from what he said about his perception of the United States, his commitments, that's all related with, I should say, ambassadors here. So if he had not been the established Korean Americans, I think that my president, instead of me, had appointed Jhoon Rhee as an ambassador to this great country. Thank you very much.
Another introduction of somebody very famous, very successful. Has anybody ever heard of Parade Magazine? You get it every Sunday at home, right? Well, we're going to introduce you to somebody who's in the room and a really terrific friend of Jhoon Rhee. One of our special guests has been a great friend of Grandmaster Jhoon Rhee for the last 30 years. He has been the resident, publisher, and chairman of Parade Magazine. He built the magazine to be the largest publication in the world. And when he first joined Parade, it had like 20 million circulation. And when he retired recently as the chairman, it was 34 million circulation, which is about double. Let us welcome Mr. Walter Anderson, a great supporter of Sri Vidya Foundation. Walter Anderson.
I'm a fisherman, and I fish all the time. I fish in competitive tournaments, and oftentimes I go out by myself. I fish on the ocean. And last year, while I was fishing, I noticed there was a disturbance in the water. I went over, and it was a seagull that had gotten wrapped with monofilament and couldn't fly. So I reached down out of the boat to pick it up, and immediately bit my hand. And it hurt. It's strong. But then I realized, as long as I let it bite my hand, it was okay. It had something to hold on to. And I was able to unwrap, cut the monofilament, cut the feathers, undid the monofilament, and I let it go. And I learned a lesson from that, which is that sometimes what we really need is something to hold on to. And having Jhoon Rhee as a close friend for more than 3 decades there's few things in my life that I would rather hold on to than that. Thank you.
Mr. Martin Grafland. Martin is the North American representative for Andre Rhee, and he manages all aspects of Andre's concerts in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Andre Rhee is one of the successful musicians in the world, and last year his world tour sold over 835,000 tickets.
Yeah, Mr. Rhee, I discussed this with Andre because you invited him, and he sent his regards. So I talked about it with him, and he just basically said that you share 2 passions with him: the passion for what you do, Tae Kwon Do, and he has the passion for music, and then the other thing, the passion to make the better world. I think that's a great combination, and Andre sends his regards, and he really values that. Andre always says, and the next time you come to his concert as a special guest, you will see that the music keeps you young, and I think that if you look at you, that you can see it. So I hope you can enjoy the music for many years, and thank you very much.
I had no idea I would be called up to speak, but I have known Grandmaster Jhoon for quite some time, and it's just an honor for me to be invited to be here to celebrate his 80th birthday and recognize all of the work that he's done for the United States and for the Hong Kongers. I really do appreciate it. And all the other words that have been said before me. He's a very fine man, and it's been a very good time and honor for us to know him. Thank you very much.